On December 30th, 2007, a string of messages were posted to an anonymous forum. The purpose of the forum was to allow users to anonymously post secrets about themselves and have others comment, as a sort of self-help remedy. On that night, however, one user dominated the thread, his panicked writing appearing at a frantic pace, alarming the other users and at one point even garnering the attention of the mass media for a short time, before the authorities took down the posts. The postings went as follows. December 30th, 2007, 12:13 a.m. Help. 12:13 a.m. I no longer live alone. That was my first mistake. 12:13 a.m. Several years ago, after first moving into this house, during this exact night, at this exact time, I heard a faint knock on my front door, almost more like a scratching sound. I went to peek outside and saw no one, and yet the faint scratching continued despite nothing being in front of the door. After much hesitation, I opened the heavy wood to confirm that nothing was outside. The night stared back at me, dark and foul. I had never felt so uneasy in my entire life than the moment I closed the door again and turned back to my house. 12:14 a.m. I felt sick and paralyzed with fear, as if the house I turned around to was no longer my own. I lived by myself, but I no longer felt as though I belonged there. I felt as though someone else would come rushing around a corner at any minute to attack me for trespassing. The hallways were longer than I remembered, the shadows creeping up the walls in unnatural ways. 12:14 a.m. I was right, too. After much debate and several minutes of simply standing with my back to the door, I steadily walked to my room, to see someone standing beside my bed, looking at where I would have been lying had I not heard the knock. 12:14 a.m. The user posted the photo shown here. 12:15 a.m. I ran from the house instantly, called the police from my cell phone, and reported a home invasion. The police found no trace that anyone had entered. The only one who had opened any door had been me. 12:15 a.m. The user posted a digital photo of the police report. 12:15 a.m. Naturally, they didn't believe me or the description of the gangly thing that I thought I had seen. 12:15 a.m. The next year, I was on vacation during this time. A house sitter reported hearing a knock, however. Opening the door to find no one and thinking nothing of it, it wasn't until the next day that she checked on my dog in the room to find this. 12:15 a.m. The user posts a horrendous photograph of mangled flesh and bone. Post is immediately removed as spam. 12:16 a.m. I need to post this somewhere. Someone needs to act on this. Calling the police wouldn't have done any good by this point. You see, I mentioned that I no longer live alone. And when the knock came again this night, I was foolishly asleep in my bed. It was my girlfriend who opened the door while I still lay here. 12:16 a.m. I'm going to try and take a picture of it. It's so close now. The postings debatably end there. Some say the user did end up capturing and uploading a blurry image of what they describe as a horrid face inches from the lens. Others say no such photo was ever uploaded to the site. Whatever the case, the user later identified as a man in his early 30s, was found when his girlfriend called 911 and reported a home invasion. The man was strewn wall to wall, DNA testing the only way to prove his identity, as his skin was flayed in unrecognizable heaps. Users still debate whether the supposed knock was the cause or a warning.